Okay, so in the last video, we got our first post going, and you saw how we did that. We basically, we wrote our post in Markdown, and we added our path in this top part called the front matter. Now, let's go ahead and explore what it's going to take to have an index page, because obviously with any blog, you want to have some place to arrive at your pages. I mean, right now, having to go to first post is not a great idea. But in the last video, I did challenge you to do this, to find the post and iterate over it, right? And before we get going on the actual doing of that, let's go ahead and explore something that happens to come with GraphQL and Gatsby here, because Gatsby is using GraphQL. And if you head to your command line, you can see, let me make this quite a bit bigger here. You don't need to do this. You don't actually need to see this in here. You can just go to this path, but might as well. You can see that your GraphQL debugger is running at, and then let me move this over, a path in which my path right now is just localhost port 8000. So chances are, if you have this running and you don't have any other sites running, you can go to localhost port 8000 /3 and then GraphQL. Let's actually head here and see what this is all about. And as you can see, we have a nice little a graphical editor here where it allows you to write some queries, and you can see a little bit of info about this, which you can read on your own time. Let me bump up this font size here, although this kind of kills some of this interface. I want to make this easy for you to see. Let me add some space at the bottom of this file just to push this stuff up. Okay, there we go. You can see we have our GraphQL query, which is really just looking for, at this point, all markdown, I should say, limit of 1000 edges node field slug. And we can run this query simply by hitting the play button. Now you can see we cannot query fields on type markdown remark. Okay, so by default, whatever I have in here is not quite working. So let's go ahead and head back to our code and check out the query that we wrote to get all of our posts, or at least get our particular post. I want to be heading to where we're at, our template post.html. So here we have our post query that we wrote, and we have query blog post by path. Path is equal to string, all markdown remark, front matter, get all of this stuff, okay? So we'll notice that if we head back to our graphical, we can see that of all markdown remark, we're then looking into edges node fields slug. Well, we're only looking for one here, so this isn't exactly the right query for us. But another query we might want to explore is in our Gatsby-node, where we actually queried all markdown remark, which is going to be looking similar to all markdown remark here. Then we had edges, node, fields, slug. Now here we have all markdown edges, node, and then front matter, path instead of slug or any of that stuff. So what I want to do is actually dive into here, and I want to grab the title. So you'll notice edges, node, okay, we're all good, front matter, and then title. So if we can continue that query in here, instead of having fields, we can say front matter. You'll notice a little bit of nice auto completion. And then if we start typing, check it out. If we start typing, you're going to get some of your fields here, all the fields that have a T in it. In this case, we have path, parent, and title, whether or not it's starting with a T or not. Now we wanted to get this T title, so we can hit title, and then let's run this query. And check it out, we are getting all markdown remark edges with a node, front matter, title, first blog post. Now this is a super handy way that you can write your queries and know if they're going to work before you start throwing them into your code. And this is really super nice because it's using your same system. So if we were to simply head to our pages, and I'm going to find this current folder in here, and I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to do this find in reveal and finder, so I can just do a command D on it. I don't know why there's not a duplicate folder option. Maybe there is and I'm just overlooking it. So you can see, making a copy, change the title, and we can say second. Now today is 9/14 Okay, 2017. And again, now we'll have just this standard index page where we can say this is going to be our second blog post. Second, should have done a find and replace for this, whatever. Okay. We'll change hello to hi, because why not? Okay, so as you can see here, we now have 2 blog posts. And when we run this query, if you expected to see 2 blog posts show up, then you'd be absolutely correct. Because what's awesome about this is it's using our file system and it's looking through our markdown files the exact same way that Gatsby or GraphQL within the system would. So this is the perfect way to test out your queries before they even happen. And let's say our query is all done and you just want to copy and paste this in your code, we can select Prettify, and it's going to give us a pretty version of this. Now we can also get some history too if we want to go back in time. So this graphical interface is really super duper handy for writing your queries and seeing instantly the object that you're going to get back. This is just one of the many reasons why a lot of people are really liking GraphQL right now. And if you listen to the Syntax podcast, we're going to be doing a whole episode on GraphQL really soon. And if you don't listen to the Syntax podcast, head to syntax.fm. And this is, I guess, is a shameless plug for the Syntax podcast featuring Wes Boss and I talking about web dev topics. So we're going to be covering GraphQL in a future episode here, basically doing a little bit of Q&A with it. So here we have all of our pages, okay? And we're getting the title. Now, what else might we want from this query, right? If we're building a listing, an index, in addition to the post, you're going to need the post path, right? Basically how to get to that path. But that's really pretty much all you'll need unless you're writing some sort of description of the blog post or something like that. And what's cool actually is that Remark gives us a little bit of a description for us, so we don't have to do anything to get that. So if you're writing a blog, you wouldn't have to write a separate description if you wanted to. Remark could take care of that. Definitely super cool. Okay, so we have our front matter and our title, and now if you guessed it, we just need our path. Let's hit play, and you can see without doing anything additional here, our query is going to work and grab us the path. And now we have this nice pretty version of a query that we could use to do our blog posts. Now let's say we only wanted the first 10 of these. We could set this limit that already exists in here to be 10, and regardless, because we don't have 10 already, it's only going to give us 10, which is nice for an index, right? You don't want 1,000 posts in your index. So this is the kind of query that we're going to do to grab all of our posts. So check out the next video as we actually build this page out into our index template and we get this query into our actual code. So as always, this is Scott with Level Up Tutorials. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more premium content, head to leveluptutorials.com and you can become a Level Up Pro where you'll get access to a bunch of series. You can see all of them available under the tutorials tab, and I should say that there's many new series coming. I'm about to finish up a Figma series that I've been talking about for a little bit. I'm pretty psyched about that. I will be getting into some Apollo and GraphQL stuff. I'm going to be getting into a lot of cool stuff very soon here. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one where we actually build out this index.